Good morning. Happy Wednesday. My name is Miles Bassett, and this is Ask Wildman, an open Q&A produced by Wildman Web Solutions. We are here to answer your questions. If you have any questions about technology, marketing, business, whatever you want, please throw those in the comments below, and we'll get to those as they come up here. My team and I are on here live streaming every Wednesdays at 11, live streaming to our Facebook, YouTube, and now our Twitch account as well to answer your questions. So make sure to join us here every week at 11. Or if you aren't watching this live, and if you're catching us later, you can still send us your questions. Just email us at askwildman@wildmanweb.com. I do have that address scrolling below me here in that little crawler, so you can grab that and send us your questions. We'll either get back to you in email or we'll use your question as a subject matter for next week's show. Again, we're doing this every week, so make sure to tune in live to get your questions answered live. As we go through this, if we're talking about something and you have a personal experience with it, you want us to take a deeper dive into it, or you have some follow-ups or something, then please feel free to jump in here and put those questions in the comments below. I want this to be a two-way conversation, less of a lecture and more of a conversation. So feel free to jump in at any time and just say hi. With that being said, we are doing this show as a resource to answer any and all questions we can get to out there, get some more good information out there, and just teach people how to manage their business online and get their business online, leverage technology to grow and succeed. And we have a bunch of other stuff to do that as well. If you haven't done so already, go and check out our website, wildmanweb.com. We've got tons of awesome resources on there. Not only can you learn about our company and what we do here, but we've got this entire resources section here. We've got a blog that we're contributing to all the time here. Some really great articles written by myself and other members of my team here. We've got the live stream archives. We're putting up this show, this live stream up on our website and putting up a full transcript of everything so that if we said something smart a few weeks ago, you can jump back and see what we said there. We also have this show in an audio-only form. If you're really more of a listener, I know that I love taking in media that way. You don't really want to watch our faces on here. I get it. We've got a face for radio. You can head over here. We've got our podcast on all of these providers. Just pick your favorite and listen to us there. And finally, we do have our toolkit. The Local Business Online Toolkit is a collection of softwares that we provide to help businesses get set up online, leverage their online presence, everything from listings and SEO to reputation, social media, advertising metrics, website metrics, and it's all free. So, just come here, put in a little bit of information about your business. It'll get you all set up and going, all free software for you to use. We want people to grow and succeed online, so this is how we do it. Okay, so done with that little bit of shameless self-promotion, we're going to move on to the Q&A portion of this show. Again, we're here to answer your questions, so email us at askwildman@wildmanweb.com or put your questions in the comments below. We'll get to those as they come up. So I'm starting to see some people filtering in, a couple on Facebook. We're also on YouTube and on Twitch, so pick your poison there and watch us live. And I am watching for your comments now. Here in just a little bit, I will have my partner jumping in, Mike, who is going to help us answer some questions on the marketing side of the house. I'm sort of the development and technology side of things. He's the sales and marketing. So hopefully together we can kind of cover all those bases and get all those questions answered as they start coming in here. Here we go. I think he's ready. Ready, Mike? Yes? All right. There we are. Hello, Mike.
Oh, man, I am always ready to talk to you, Miles. How in the heck is it going today?
It's pretty good. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, it is. I think I could throw some chicken breasts out on the curb later this afternoon and grill some chicken.
It's been a little warm
while I'm sitting in here. But yeah, it's a lovely, lovely day here in Kansas. Thanks for having me back on the show, Miles. Good to be here.
Of course. Yep, I got it. Speaking of which, actually, we are talking about doing that, bringing some other people on the show here. having some guests, trying to get some other point of views on everything. So if you're watching this and you're interested in jumping on here and giving your take on some of this stuff, if you are another creative professional like us, or if you just you own a different kind of business and you want to give your perspective on this kind of thing, on these kinds of things, then let us know, and we'll set something up here. But we definitely are looking to get some other perspectives, and maybe get some questions answered in a different way from someone else who has some different experiences, some different knowledge than just Mike and I here. Although I think we have a lot here. We've got a lot of good knowledge, I hope. Hopefully you guys are finding it interesting.
We know a little bit about a lot.
If you do find this interesting, or if you think that the stuff that we're providing here is useful to you, then please help us out by liking, sharing, subscribing, all the social media stuff, depending on what platform you know how to use social media. So just engage with this in some way. That'll help us to reach more people, answer some more questions, and be more of a resource to more people. That's all we're trying to do here. So like this video, comment on it, share it, whatever you want to do here if you think what we're doing is good. All right, with that being said, we had a couple of points to bring up here, a couple of items of business to cover. I know we have a couple of updates from the news desk here, and of course we will answer your questions as they come in through the chat, so please throw those in the comments below. So the first one, I just wanted to, actually I wasn't planning on talking about this, but I think it's a really good one to throw out there, as we were just talking about reviews. I think it was either last week or the week before, how to get more reviews, how to respond to maybe some negative reviews or some less than pleasant reviews that may come in, as that's part of the process as well. And then we had a really nice review come in this morning. It was a client we had worked with over the last couple of months, really happy to work with them. They were really happy with the end result there, and they came in and left us a really nice review on Facebook.
Let's give them a shout out, Miles.
Yeah, so that was an organization called Interhab. They work, well, they do lots of things, but you can check out their website at interhab.org. We just worked with them over the last couple of months to build out this site. They wanted something new and fresh and clean, and a lot of it was they didn't necessarily know what they were looking for or have the words to really communicate a lot of it. So a lot of it really was just kind of communication and exploration, looking out there at different sites that they liked and trying to figure out what it was that they liked about those sites and what it was that they didn't like about other sites, and just trying to put those into words and get those get that communication happening. I think a lot of people think of website development and design, they think of the technical side of things, but really a lot of what we do over here is just trying to communicate clearly and get things put into words and explore what it is that someone really likes. A lot of times you don't even I go to a site and I don't even know why I like it until I really I sit there and think about it and dissect what it is that I'm looking at and figure out, oh, it's A, B, and C elements that really make this thing click and really make it look amazing. Anyway, so it was a really nice experience working with them. They're a great team over there. They were totally happy to work with us, and ended up leaving us a nice review. So I just wanted to start off the show with a charge to those out there who are listening to this, who are watching this, and that is, please leave reviews. I know we can all do better about this.
Please leave us reviews? Is that
no? Leave reviews for everyone that you're working with. Just leave reviews. I know I can be better about doing that. If you work with someone, reviews are so important, and it's so hard to get people to leave reviews, especially positive ones. It seems like the only ones who want to review are the ones that are pissed off about something. So if you have a good experience with someone, go out there and leave them a review. Let everyone know how awesome they're doing. Or if you legitimately have an issue with someone or have a bad experience or something, then feel free to leave that review as well. But I just wanted to start this off with sort of this public charge. I'm going to give myself, I'm going to give Mike, I'm going to give everyone who's listening here. Make sure to go out and review your favorite businesses. just pick your top 3 or, businesses that you work with all the time, and that you love and that you haven't reviewed, and go out there and give them a little bit of attention this week. It's hard out there for the small business owner right now. It's always kind of a challenge, but especially with everything going on right now, I think everyone could use a little bit of love. So go out there and leave some nice reviews. It really does help, and it just feels nice. Get a little bit of that attention and appreciation.
Yeah, 100%. And Miles, real quick, why don't you just tell people they don't have to use our product. They could use a different product if they want. But just tell some people out there who are maybe a little shy about asking clients for reviews and things like that, and who are doing really good work but aren't getting their fair share of reviews. What are a few quick little tools that they can use while I go grab some more coffee?
Yeah, so there are several good tools out there that help with managing reviews, facilitating reviews, getting more reviews, answering reviews. There's lots of really great softwares out there. Of course, we have ours, and I'm a little bit biased towards those, but there's a tons of options out there if you search for them real quick. For generating more reviews, there are some things that you can do that makes it easier to ask for reviews, so you don't have to literally ask everyone every time you need a review from them. It will automatically send them an email or a text with a nice link that brings them directly to your Google or Facebook review page, just to make it nice and easy for them. You want to take hurdles away, and just asking someone to leave your review, that means that they have to go home, or they have to get on their computer or pull up their phone or whatever, search for your business, find your page there, and leave the review. This just takes all those extra steps out and makes it nice and easy for these people that do want to leave you a nice review. So when you do have business with someone, all you have to do is collect a little bit of information, which you're probably collecting anyway in most industries. Get an email or a phone number or whatever it is that your software requires, and it will automatically send out this nice pre-formatted request with your logo on it, and just has the links directly to those things. You'd be surprised at how much that really ups the average number of reviews that you get, per week, per month, per whatever it is that you're measuring there. Just from asking people. A lot of people, they don't like, if I go to a business and I have a really good experience with them, most likely I'm just going to move on about my day. I think that was really nice, but I'm not going to take the time to go off and do that. If they were to just ask me, send me a text, it's already right here on my phone. All I have to do is click the link, click 5 stars, and save. That's it. That's going to really increase your average. So that's one area where technology and these software tools can help to facilitate the running of a small business online. It's just such a little thing, and it can make such a big difference. But more than that, go out and review your favorite business. Maybe that love will come back around to you. So before we move on to the next subject here, like I said, if you have any questions on that, or if you want to, dive a little bit deeper into reviews, or how to respond to reviews, how to get more reviews, let us know in the comments below, and we can hit that. Or if you want to start doing some of that, there are softwares and tools within our toolkit that I mentioned earlier that helps out with all of that. So if you just want to get started for free on doing some of that, go check that out. But like Mike said, you don't have to use our stuff. There's plenty of options out there. Just please get those reviews and leave them as well for anyone that you have a positive experience with. Make sure to make a conscious effort to do that. I think that would be very appreciated by your small business community. Okay, so the next subject I wanted to talk about is how to use your new website. So I've had a conversation recently with a client, but I've had this conversation time and time again with clients that come to us for a new site. Either they're a new business, or they're just looking for a revamp, or maybe they're an existing business, but they're really just trying to leverage their online presence for the first time. A lot of people were in that boat this last year or two. And so the thought goes something like this. We're going to come to an agency or a developer or website designer. We're going to put a little bit of money in, get a nice professional website that's going to be up there, and then bam, we're going to be online. And that's all we have to do. And then after we do that, we get them a nice, beautiful new website. We publish it. They're happy with it. Maybe there's a little bit of rush there at the very beginning when they announce it because it's new and shiny. But then after that, traffic falls off. They don't get any traffic. No one's seeing it. No one's using it. They're not promoting it. Nothing's happening. And they're wondering why they're not able to leverage their online presence. So I want to talk about sort of the conversation that we don't have enough, and that is what next? What do we do next after you've worked with someone, you developed a brand new website, you've established yourself online? What is the next step to help people to actually engage with you online and to maximally use this new amazing tool that you have? And I think Mike and I will both have a take on this, and our different perspectives hopefully will allow a little bit of a different take on strategies here and advice here. But Mike, what would you do? What would be your first step if you were starting a new business or you were just starting to leverage your online presence for the first time? You got up a nice new website. What do you think is your next priority? What's your next step?
I'm going to make sure that I have paid the website developer in full on time, and I may even give him a little bit extra.
We're solving their problems, not our problems.
For his troubles. Oh, okay. Wrong. Okay. Sorry, I got into the wrong meeting there for a minute. Well, I'd try to get some traffic to it, Miles, otherwise known as attention. And it's funny the way you set up this dilemma, because I was thinking, gosh, that sounds exactly like what would happen even before websites. If we're just talking about opening up our store, let's think way back in the 20th century now, when we have storefronts and things. And it's exactly what people would do. They would get all excited. They would fill up their store with inventory. They'd have a little grand opening or whatever. There'd be a buzz for a couple of weeks or so. And then 6 months later, I'd come in and talk to them like, where'd everybody go? So, well, they went back to their lives. That we all had lives before you opened up your store, and we all had lives before you started your website. So what you need to do at that point is start to incorporate your store and or your website into people's lives. Give them a reason to care. Give them a reason to pay attention to it. Give them a reason to visit it. Give them a reason to tell people about it. And so, just very broadly speaking, that's the first step that you have to do. You have to make some noise. You have to get some attention. Depending on the kind of site and the kind of business you have, there's 1,000 different ways to go about that. But that's the key. Otherwise, you're just going to have tumbleweeds sitting there. And Miles, to your point, this is something this is a plan of action that you need to formulate before the website is launched. Not 6 months after it is launched, to really understand how we're going to utilize this thing coming out of the box. It's like I can get a new set of golf clubs, but if they're just sitting in the closet all year, it doesn't really, might as well be playing my old clubs, right? So you have to use the tools that are at your disposal in the right way, in the right time. I think like we talked about last week a little bit.
Yeah, I like the analogy of a website to an actual brick and mortar shop. Is a reason that we refer to a website as your online storefront a lot. It's because there are tons of parallels there. I think that is a very apt comparison to just opening up a shop and expecting people to show up. Even if you did everything right within the store, you have a beautiful storefront. You walk in and the entire thing is just perfect. It's exactly how you wanted it. If you don't get that traffic, people actually coming in and enjoying this and using this, then what's the point? So there's obviously the first step, or the first thing that people go to is some form of promotion. That could be some paid advertising if you're wanting to put some money into SEO so that people find you organically, or into paid search marketing, or maybe we're doing a social campaign, some ads on Facebook and Instagram or something like that. So that's sort of a clear next step. If you have a little bit of money, hopefully you do have a marketing budget where you can put some effort into pulling people into the website and then using the website as a tool in that marketing bridge. Hopefully that's kind of the end point. That's really where you're trying to pull people in, and your website is built to convert them one way or another. You've got the organic side of things where maybe in addition to setting up a website, you've also set up some social media where you're putting out decent content, helpful content, useful content. You're starting to grow a following there, and then you can leverage the attention that you get on social media in order to push people back to your website. For example, I mentioned our blog earlier. We have a bunch of really awesome articles up there. We put a lot of time and effort into creating that resource to help people learn how to do some of this stuff on their own. And so we'll cut up those articles, post them on social media, and then link back to our article. So if someone's scrolling through, they see our post on, how to increase your Instagram following. They see that first point and they think that's awesome. They see that read more button, they click on it, and that takes them to our website.
Right.
So just little things like that can help to push people to your site and help you to really start leveraging that traffic that you're already generating on those social platforms.
Well, what you said there, Miles, was really important. I just wanted to make sure we explain that a little bit. And what Miles is talking about is having a process for people to one unique person multiple times over to visit your website multiple times over. And that's otherwise known as a sales funnel or a marketing funnel. And that's really what we have to achieve here, because as we've talked about before in the show extensively the last few weeks, people don't do what you want them to do, i.e. convert, usually the first time they visit your store or your website, or the first time they see your ad, right? And as we know, it's taking more and more times, maybe than it ever has before, to get them to do what we want them to do. And so we have to think about this not in terms of, oh, let me get traffic to my website. Let me get somebody to go to it once. That's a complete waste of time, right? We have to set up an ecosystem where we're going to get people to go there once and want to come back again and again and again. And that's really the only way that, in my mind, that you can effectively monetize and utilize your website, unless you're selling Corvettes for a nickel. Of course, there's always that, where you just have some amazing offer and 99.9% of the people that click on that ad and go to that website are going to buy it. But gosh darn it, we wish that was more businesses than it currently seems to be. So I just wanted to flesh that out, Miles. But very good point.
Yeah, another tool that we were thinking about, actually, you and I were talking about earlier this week or last week, I don't know, sometime previous to now, was making your site a utility or making it a tool in some way. Mm-hmm. That increases the chance of existing customers going back to your site regularly. First of all, it's just nice for the customers to have that, single access point for stuff. Secondly, search engines see that as well. If they see the same users going back and frequenting a site, they actually weigh that pretty heavily. And think about it like this. If one person goes to a website and then immediately leaves and never goes back there again, even if you have 100 of those people, the search engine is going to think, well, this site probably isn't useful, or it's not what they're looking for. We should display something else instead of this one. Versus if you only have 10 people going to the site, but they go back there all the time, they spend some real time on there, then the search engine's thinking they found what they're looking for. They are where they want to be. We should probably serve this site to more people like this. And so there will be a search benefit to having people, one, spend time on your site, really spend real time on your site, more than a minute or so. And two, having the same people go back and frequent your site and visit it several times and really spend some time there. And the way you can do that is by making your site into some kind of utility. Maybe in order to pay you, they have to go to your website and utilize your billing software there. Maybe in order to access some of our products and services, people have to come to our website and then log in through our website in order to get to some of that stuff. If you have tuition payments, you can have that on there. Signing up for new classes or courses or whatever services that you have, if you make them do that through the website, really push people through the website to contact you, to interact with you, or to do something regarding your business, even if that's just filling out a basic form.
Mm-hmm.
that will naturally increase your traffic, naturally increase your search ranking, naturally increase your site's authority in the eyes of different algorithms out there. So it has tons of different benefits. Like I said, form fills, like that's something that we do when we're doing a new ad campaign or a new website or something like that. We've got a series of forms that we've built out on our website. We'll send our clients to there. And then they fill all that information out, and that gives us the information necessary to start building their new site or something. We could just as easily say, hey, email us this stuff, or use a third-party service for form filling, or send them an actual document to fill out. But just by putting that form on our website and linking them to our website, we're increasing our traffic, we're increasing the average amount of time that people are spending on the site, and we're making the same people visit our site multiple times. All of those metrics are incredibly important on the search side and also just on the actual human experience side. So that can be a nice, easy trick if you do have a new site, you're really wanting to launch that, you're trying to build your online presence for the first time. Think of some way where you can incorporate a function of your business through your website, where your customers or your prospects or whoever it is that you're engaging with must go through your website in order to do X. And that's going to give you that little boost.
Yep. Yeah, it's going to get you those repeat visits, from the same people that we were just discussing a minute ago. And to get super literal and practical with that example that you just gave, Miles, you're also going to get paid faster, which is I think the number one priority of almost any business owner out there, right? How many service people do we know that are still sending out paper invoices in the mail and waiting for checks to come back, weeks later, right? It'll blow your mind how many of them are still doing it in 2021. And what they're basically doing is, hey, I don't care if I get paid soon. Well, of course they do. They're just not thinking about it in those kind of terms and probably not realizing how easy it is to have a solution like a payment button on your website and then just send somebody a text, send somebody an email, invoice, whatever. Say, hey, pay this. We just finished up whatever it is we're doing for you. And so, yeah, that's going to help you a lot in your digital online presence. It's also going to help you a lot just getting cash stacked up in your bank account. And that's pretty important too.
Yeah, all of these things I was talking about making your site a utility, hopefully are also helpful to you in some other way. I was talking about the online form for our new websites. That was kind of a breakdown in our communication with new clients. It always took us just a little bit longer than it probably should have to get a new project started until we started doing that. It makes it super easy. We just send them a link, say, here, fill this out. They do it, and we have all the information we need. And then, like you were saying, putting a payment option on your website or having your invoicing system connected to your website does make it really easy to get paid. You don't have to wait on someone to actually give you a physical check. You don't have to send out paper invoices in the mail and then you get paid months, weeks, whatever later. It makes it easier for you to collect, and also it makes it easier for your customers to give you money. You were talking about the service industry. That one's just particularly bad at this for some reason. For those of you that know me personally, I live in a 100-plus-year-old house, and it's great. I'm working on fixing some things up, but that does mean that I need to call service people out in order to do things. HVAC, plumbers, electricians, all sorts of people I've had in this house working on things. And some of them are really difficult to pay. It ended up being a whole process just for me to get them their money, and it was frustrating for me, even though they did great work. They were personally awesome, and I would be happy to work with them again. It was a ding on them that I couldn't give them money. And then if I worked with someone else later that also did good work and paying them was easy, the actual business, the transaction side of things was smooth, that's who I'm calling back. And so just little things like that. It doesn't seem like a big deal, but it makes it easier for you. It makes it easier for the customer. There's fewer hurdles there. And when it comes down to a close call, that's going to be what helps you to stand out or really makes the difference in in a customer's decision there. So it can help you to increase market share.
Yeah.
And all of that is on top of increasing traffic to your website and actually letting you use this brand new, shiny, beautiful website that you put out there, and actually leverage it properly.
Yeah. And let's just give a quick practical example, Miles, of how this
Yeah.
would work, like in a real world situation. So let's say
Sure.
I'm a gutter cleaning company. Okay. I go around town, I clean people's gutters, right? They probably hire me, through phone call or whatever at this point, right? I could have them, I could have the best SEO in town. Somebody types in gutter cleaning Lawrence, Kansas. My website's going to pop up first, goes right there. It's beautiful. It's got testimonials. It's got video. It's got how-to tips, da, 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 da. Most importantly, it's got a schedule now button and a payment button, right? So the customer can go right there, schedule an appointment to get their gutters cleaned at their convenience as soon as they can. I show up. They're probably not at home, right? Maybe I'm showing up in the middle of a weekday. I do my job and get their customers' gutters all clean. I forgot what I was doing there for a minute. And
What was my made-up example again?
I can have my crew there taking pictures. Boom, boom, boom. Take some pictures before and after. Send it to the client. Hey, we just finished up your gutters. Everything looked good to you. They're like, wow, yeah, it looks awesome. Sends me back a text. Boom, great. Send them a link to the payment button. Here's your invoice. Go ahead and take care of that payment now. Sure thing, great. Oh, let's send them another. Hey, by the way, while it's fresh in your mind, you just told us you love the job you look for. Let's send them the link to set up a review on Google or Facebook. And I can handle all of that right there in a matter of seconds without having to be intrusive or try to schedule something around both of our time frames, right? The customer's on their time frame, I'm on my time frame, but we're both going to get a hell of a lot more stuff done quickly than let's wait, till he gets his email or his invoice in the mail a week later. Let's then ask him how he liked it. Let's then ask a review. Then it's like 2-3 weeks later before we maybe get a review or get payment. The chances of those things happening have just dropped significantly. So that's just a little real world example of how something super simple, like adding a couple payment buttons, and a schedule button on your website, can not only help your online presence, but be a really, really practical measure in your business to help you interact with your customers better.
All of that is a great example of incorporating all of this into one big, smooth process. And it comes back to that original question of, I built this brand new website. Why isn't it working? Where ultimately, whether we're talking about a review software or online payment software or a website or a marketing campaign, all of these things are just tools in your belt. They still need to be used effectively. As soon as we look at any one of these things as a means unto itself, or a goal unto itself rather than a means to an end, we've lost. Mm-hmm. We're definitely not going to end up using it properly. We're not going to get as much as we could out of it. We need to be looking at these things as tools in our belt and means to an end. And those means can change depending on what you're trying to do or just change with the time. Your goal has to stay the same. Your goal has to be strong. And we're just using all of this stuff along the way. And if you can use technology and use all these different tools in your belt in a way that is smooth, that brings people gently and comfortably through that marketing funnel, all the way from I have no idea who you are down to I am a lifelong loyal customer. That's the goal. That's what we're going for here. So anything that we can do to get your website built into that or somehow incorporated with the rest of it, with your marketing campaign, with your social media presence, with your search ranking and your other listings, if we can get incorporated in the financial side of your business and getting billed or getting paid, doing invoicing or whatever, that's awesome. You mentioned a scheduling button. That's a huge one and one that we incorporated a year or two ago. It's awesome just having that automatic schedule button on the website, and we've started setting that up for a lot of our clients. now we can have it set up with and have it integrated directly into your online calendar, so it knows when you're available, and it just sets stuff up for you. You don't have to do anything. You just open up your calendar for that day and say, okay, here's all of my appointments. Here's everything that got booked with me. Let's go to work. And all of that can be done through your website, but the website is just a tool. It is not a goal unto itself, which I think is the initial trap that we were discussing here.
100%, Miles. All right. Well, should we get into some news topics here, or do we have anything else over there you want to get into here?
That was my big conversation point for the day.
Okay.
So yeah, let's go ahead and check out the news desk.
All
What do we got?
Let's take it. Let's take it over the world of advertising here for a second at the news desk, and I got a couple good ones here, Miles. I think would be some good jumping off points for discussion. So, all right, the first one. I just love this headline. It's so bold. I don't know. Apple's stunning plan to strike Facebook with brilliant new iPhone features. All right, this came out a few days ago from Forbes magazine's Tech Desk, talking about the ever evolving battle here between Apple and Facebook, which we've been talking about a little bit throughout the course of the year here. I'll just read you a quick paragraph to open up the discussion here. Apple's about to strike Facebook with a major blow that will hit the data-hungry social network's revenues and could force it to change its ways. That's because in September this year, Apple will launch its iOS 15 operating system update. Yes, they're coming out with another one, bringing with it multiple new iPhone features. Among those are privacy reports, which will show you how often apps access your iPhone's camera and contacts, as well as highlighting which third-party domains you are contacting and when. In iOS 15, Apple is also introducing features that will help put a stop to email tracking on your iPhone. The iPhone maker is also enhancing its Safari browser with privacy controls, such as its iCloud privacy relay. It also comes after Apple introduces app tracking transparency in iOS 14.5 at the end of April. The new iPhone feature hurts the likes of Facebook by making tracking across apps and websites opt-in only. So without getting too technical into this, let's keep it kind of surface level. Basically what is happening is in this new update for iPhone users, there's going to be more options for you to see how you're being tracked, how your contacts are being utilized, how your phone's being utilized, et cetera, as you integrate with apps like Facebook. And so the thinking is this is going to make even more people opt out of tracking. And we do have a stat here. As predicted, iOS's 14.5 update has already hurt Facebook and its advertisers. In fact, the latest figures from Branch, which analyze mobile app growth, show that 75% of iPhone users are opting out of being tracked across their iPhones. So it's already at 75%. With this new update, it's going to likely climb even higher. And so this, of course, has been kind of an ongoing topic that we've been discussing, like I said, for really all of 2021. And as we talked about last week, at the end of last week's show, so it's kind of dovetailing back into that, Facebook itself in its quarterly earnings report has stated that the price of their product, the advertising, has significantly gone up, and they're anticipating that it's going to go up even more in the back half of the year. So again, we have a scenario where it's getting more expensive and it's also getting harder to accomplish results. And I talked a little bit about this last week, how, this creates fear, and fear could be forget everything and run, or it could be face everything and rise, depending on your outlook and how you're looking at it. But Miles, really the kind of thing that the real reason I wanted to bring this up for discussion was to talk about really doubling down on content production and doubling down on messaging and copy. And I really think that this is a moment in time where us as advertisers have to stop and think really, really critically about what we're putting out there. And, just to maybe let's just give a little bit of background for nobody who's ever done an advertising campaign, or if you've never done one with us. So typically the costs that are involved, right, are the ad spend that you're giving to the platform. So in this case, we're talking about Facebook. Then if you have somebody that is doing your marketing for you, you're probably paying a percentage on top of that to them, or a retainer like we do. It's just a flat rate retainer, monthly fee that goes, for our management, optimization, and some content production. But then when we do like really full on and gross content production, like, creating original stuff from scratch, that will sometimes be another cost, right? You may have to hire a photography team, a videography team, a drone team, whoever it is to come in and do this. In my mind, there's two ways to go about this problem as an advertiser. You can say, well, okay, I'm going to start forecasting more ad spend budget to try to keep up with the rising cost, right? And or I could say, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make better content. And I'm going to take the same amount of money or more money, and I'm going to invest it in the content side of things. And I'm going to try to get more with less, right? And to me, getting good content and messaging and saying the right thing is always going to be the most important thing. And so I would double down in that area if it's me. Obviously both is always a better plan. But a lot of small businesses can't afford that luxury, right? They're like, hey, my marketing budget is $2,000 a month or whatever it is, and it's not going to go up. And so we have to figure out, okay, how are we going to work smarter and not harder? And then the other thing, that we talk about a lot, but it always bears repeating, is I think this really, really, really creates a call to action for us as marketers and business owners to make sure that our top of the funnel, middle of the funnel marketing, especially through platforms like Facebook, is bringing people back to something that we control. It's bringing somebody back to the website, back to the newsletters, back to the mobile app, because that is capturing those people as prices continue to rise is going to be so important. Like we talked about this a little bit last week, Miles, with your example from Mr. Patel. If I can get my conversion rate to go down just a little bit, it's going to make a world of difference. Well, what's a great way to get your conversion rate down? Okay, set up a better website, whatever you're converting on, but also on the front end of it, making content and making messaging that actually matters, that people actually care about, and they want to engage with the first, second, or third time they see it, not the 15th, 16th, 17th time they see it. Because if these prices keep going up, most small businesses aren't going to be able to afford to talk to somebody 17, 18, 19 times and keep having them saying no. So I know that was a little long-winded news story there, Miles, but I think
it's good stuff.
I think it's really, really important. And I don't think enough people are explaining this and talking about this to business owners. This is a discussion that's happening among us marketers, and marketers are just going back to business owners and saying, give me more money, but we're not really taking the time to explain to them what is happening and what are the options on the table in order to navigate this.
Context. Very important to understand the world that we're living in here as digital marketers, as things are shifting all over the place. I think jumping back to the beginning of this story here, where we're talking about a trend that we've pointed out several times on this show, that I'd like to think that we predicted a while back, and that is a trend of personal privacy. People are starting to actually care about that in some sense. For a long time, we were just putting anything and everything about ourselves out online. And even though we would say, if you asked anyone on the street, is privacy important to you? They would say yes. And then they would go out and give every little detail about their lives on social media. Now it's seeming like people are actually caring. And that means that there's going to be a business advantage or an incentive to make privacy an important part of your business model. To emphasize privacy as part of your marketing, as part of your offering. If Apple can be the people to do that, they can come out and say, look, if you use our products, you're going to be 100% secure. You can keep things private. You know how people are using your information, and you have the ability to easily shut that stuff down. In fact, we're going to start from a default of shutting everything down unless you explicitly opt into sharing something with someone. Which is how a lot of people assume that this stuff works here. They don't realize that the default is share everything unless you explicitly go in there and dive down 5 levels deep to find whatever setting it is to turn that off. So we've seen that trend happening a lot, and I don't disagree with it. I like it very much, actually, on a personal level. As a marketer, it makes things kind of difficult because we've just been swimming in this pool of data entirely, way too much data, way more data than we ever need to target everyone.
It's been shooting fish in a barrel.
Exactly. For years and years and years. And so now we have to, as digital marketers and small businesses out there that are doing their own marketing, or they're working with a small team like us to do something, we've got to work together to play a different kind of game here. We've got to shift. Some of that is going to mean, it's just going to mean that we've got to spend more money here in order to get the same kind of results. Unfortunately, that's going to be part of this. But hopefully, if you're working with someone good, or if you are good at this, then we can do a little bit of working smarter, not harder. And that's why I really like your direction here of leaning into the content. There's 2 reasons I like that. One, that is leading into the natural preferences of the algorithms of these platforms. They want attention on the platform. They want people to go there and find entertaining things, to find good content. So they are naturally always, no matter what rules they put in place or what privacy restrictions comes up, they're always going to prioritize good quality content, because that generates attention, which generates money for them. That is their business model. So that's one constant that's always going to work here. High quality content is always going to win. While everything else might shift around it, that is something that we can always aim for. The second thing is that it's that kind of concept of owning something and not building your don't build your castle on rented land here. When you create good content, you own it. So if we're sending out a drone photographer to your build site or to your business or whatever, and getting this awesome, beautiful aerial shot of everything, and then using that in our content, using that in our marketing, not only is that going to make our content and our ads and everything that we're doing more engaging, and more interesting and more effective, but also you've got a great drone shot of your business that you can use forever and ever and ever and ever on anything that you want. You can go put that on your website. You can, maybe a couple of months down the line, you haven't used it and we're reposting it to Instagram, and all of a sudden that's grabbing more attention, or more new attention for you. So anything that we do in actual content production is building something for you that you own, that you can continually use and reuse in whatever way you see fit. If we're just putting more dollars into advertising, as soon as we spend it, it's gone. You spent that $5 to get that view, to get that click, to get that engagement, and then that's it. You don't get to reuse it. You don't get any benefit from that later on. It was just used to get that one piece of attention, that one engagement, whatever it is that we're paying for here.
Well, if your advertising is forgettable, then yeah, but that goes back to the content thing. If you have a great piece of content, somebody could see it once and remember it for the rest of their life, theoretically. But that doesn't usually happen. But that, in just to put a button on this with an example, that we see internally, because I work on advertising campaigns against a whole wide variety of industries, right? And I don't think it's any accident that throughout all this turmoil, and I'm not talking necessarily about COVID, but all the turmoil in terms of advertising pricing on the platforms fluctuating, all the different, regulations and rules and things, and, coming down the pipeline, the client that has had the most consistent results and actually keeps getting better results without having to spend more money is one that we probably have the best creative for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's an accident. Now their category's also red hot, so I mean there's other factors in here, but we haven't had to increase their advertising spend in 2 years, and we keep getting better and better results. And I'm not going to take all the credit for that. I think the content itself is just motivating people to take action.
Right. Of course, what he means by that is that's 90% on Mike, of course, his specialty, and a little bit on the content.
That did not mean to come out as a humble brag. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if it did. Okay.
No, it is interesting to see a real world example like that, and of course, the ones that we have the information on are going to be our clients. So I think that's acceptable in this case, but. Take a little responsibility for it. You're good at what you do.
All right, let me get to another news article that I have nothing to do with this, other than I'm a huge fan. Okay, the Kansas City Chiefs, believe it or not, are doing some marketing and technology news. The Kansas City Chiefs tap mobile marketplace to auction team merch. The NFL's Kansas City Chiefs this week launch Chief Bids, a marketplace that will auction team merchandise with the Chiefs app and official website, per a press release. The launch commences a multi-year partnership with the tech company I Got It, whose platform will enable the franchise to offer game-worn memorabilia, unique fan experiences, and VIP opportunities directly to consumers. Keyword there, directly to consumers. The tie-up offers a large fan base with a mobile platform that could streamline digital engagement as well as open the door for future involvement in blockchain I can't talk right now. Activizations. I don't know. You know how to talk. The launch of Chiefs Bids sees a notable sports team using digital auction technology to drive mobile fan experiences. The iGot platform will exist on the Chiefs app, as well as its official website, allowing for easy access to team-based auctions in real time. The multi-year partnership will offer fans exclusive experiences, game-worn memorabilia, VIP opportunities, and commences with free sweepstakes for a Tyreek Hill Super Bowl game-issued jersey. The direct-to-consumer element of I Got It's tech could streamline fan connection as well as help the football franchise reach fans who are increasingly using digital channels to shop. Moreover, eliminating the need for third parties, the franchise could get rid of worries of fraud that is a significant risk when it comes to collecting sports memorabilia. So a lot of things I love about this, Miles. First, another way for the Chiefs, what we were just talking about, to get people to engage with their website, engage with their mobile app on a regular, consistent basis, to be going back and making purchasing opportunities, as well as other engagement that is just leading to digital experiences and things like that. They've eliminated the middle man, so to speak, so they're not taking these items and because there are already huge auction sites out there, right? If you want to get a game, worn jersey or something like that, there are dozens and dozens of third-party auction sites out there that you can get it. But now what is happening is because the Chiefs aren't the only ones that are doing this, sports teams are taking this in-house onto their own platforms and leveraging this great content that they have themselves instead of letting a third-party platform leverage it. So I love that aspect of it. Miles, what are your take on this news here from the Kansas City Chiefs? Go Chiefs.
I think that's really interesting. You're right. It really does kind of piggyback on some of the topics that we've been talking about here of, just thinking outside the box and finding different ways to engage in e-commerce, in m-commerce, and just to monetize their website and their mobile app, to increase or to incentivize engagement in a number of different ways. It just strikes me as a very creative way to drive that engagement, get people to go and use their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
and engage with it in a very different way. They're not just looking at information about the team, about the games or something. They're actually engaging with it in this direct to consumer way, and in a way that actually incorporates money, allows them to buy stuff and bid on stuff. And it's almost a gamification kind of play here, where they're trying to make this whole thing not just a one-way information dump on the end user, but something that's more interactive, a two-way street, where the end user feels like they're actually interacting with the entity that they're working with here. Now, of course, this is a giant organization. I don't know what the budget of the Chiefs is, but I think that we might not have numbers that big. We don't think we've invented them yet. So maybe if we can bring this back to something that's a little bit more applicable to our audience, and our client base. You don't have to spend $1 bazillion and have a partnership like this with live auctions and crazy stuff like that within your mobile app or anything. But you can take away the core element of this, and the thing that makes this really interesting, and that is the gamification. That is the interactiveness of what they're trying to build here, and just incentivizing that kind of engagement. Anything that you can do to get people to go to your website and engage with you, go to your social media profile and engage with you. That could be something just like, posting a poll on Facebook or something and asking, hey, what do you think we should do with this? And really actually engaging with your audience in a way that is not just publishing content and shouting at them and saying, here's our stuff, buy our stuff. It's all right, let's talk about this. Let's do something in a more interactive fashion. I think we can all learn from that. And maybe that's the takeaway from the major advance here that I'm seeing the Chiefs doing. Yeah,
really, really cool concept in general, and awesome use of their website and mobile application. Okay, I just got one more here, probably because we're running out of time. All right, Pepsi activates experimental dance pods at Hershey Park. This
Sorry,
might, I'm gonna read it, Miles. I was hoping maybe you could explain this one to me a little bit better.
I didn't see this.
I actually wish
about.
My son was here, because I feel like I'm maybe aged out of a little bit of understanding here. Pepsi is opening, but it still caught my eye. It was interesting. Pepsi is opening a music-focused experimental space within Hershey Park, an amusement park in Pennsylvania. Pepsi Pop Star opens today, July 30th, and was created with design agency Jam 3. The 2,500 square foot space features dance pods where fans can record short music videos that will be matched to personalized virtual avatars. The space has an apparel store and Pepsi cooler stocked with products, and is free to guests, but requires a reservation. The experimental Pepsi Pop Star links several pre-pandemic marketing strategies while expanding the soda brand's ties to popular music. It also has the latest effort by parent company PepsiCo to experiment with non-traditional marketing activations. The Pepsi latest campaign builds on its musical heritage and combines. Okay, here's a little bit more explanation. In a revival of experimental marketing, Pepsi is offering dance pods in which fans can record their performances of professional routines matched to hit songs by artists including Kane Brown, The Killers, and Imagine Dragons. The routines will be performed on a screen by virtual avatars that fans can personalize via. Here's the kicker: that fans can personalize via selfie and then model their moves after. As people return to pre-pandemic activities, other brands are reemploying their own experimental efforts, such as Corona's voice-activating vending machine and Wendy's Rick and Morty themed dinner. So I think that this is playing on the TikTok dance craze. And the idea is that people, instead of just doing these dances and things like that and then posting them online at themselves, they will show up at the amusement park because they can sync it up with an avatar and hit songs, and it's an experience, and they can still take the cool selfie to post on TikTok.
Yeah,
Am I reading this
I
right,
think
Miles, or am I missing something?
at least I was thinking of this as a sort of a mashup uh, of concepts here. And I think the TikTok dance craze is definitely in there. I was also thinking of, the businesses that set up the like selfie stations
Yeah,
where you
yeah,
walk in and there's like a whole decorated background or a
yep,
themed background or something that looks really cool. And it's designed for, usually there's some branded elements in it as well. It's marketing. And it's designed for patrons to come in and do their own selfies there. And this is just you took those two things, mashed them up, and then added a whole level of incredible technology on top of it to create this 3D avatar and dance your way into a famous music video.
yeah,
I don't know exactly what the ROI is going to be on something like that, but it's really interesting. I do think that you were right in that final point there, that it is an experience, and there's something to
yeah,
be said for that, for a business or a brand being able to craft something that could be described as an experience. It's not just I'm paying for a product, I'm paying for a service. It's I'm paying for this experience. It ties in the product and the service and the ambiance and the actual act of going through whatever is being offered for you. This is something that they're going to remember forever,
yeah.
and that's very interesting. I'm interested to see where it goes, and if it takes over and if people love it, we might start seeing some things like that all over the place. Regardless, I do think that there's going to be um, much more plays into the sort of virtual reality, augmented reality, especially after the sort of virtual year or two we've had during COVID.
Hmm.
The technologies have really jumped up there and become more accessible, so that a lot of businesses and brands were required to think a little bit more outside of the box and utilizing some of these technologies, where I think we're going to see more and more creative ideas like this utilizing that base set of technology.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Certainly amusement parks are definitely struggling. I thought this was a unique way to tap into some digital elements while also bringing real world experiences, trying to get people to come back to the parks. And so, yeah, we'll see if it catches on, and more of that confusion kind of starts to happen here, Miles. And by the way, are you familiar with, because the history of Hershey Park in itself is a bit of an interesting topic. Are you familiar at all with Hershey Park?
No, no.
No. Okay. Well, I wish we had more time. But
You can start off next week
yeah,
with a story time with Mike
I'll
again.
leave you
Those
guys
are
with
always
this
nice.
cliffhanger here. But yeah, people should look into the Hershey Company.
And every time he starts to tell a story, we end up losing him. All right, we will start next week with story time with Mike. We'll go into the history of Hershey Park. That is it for us here at Wildman Web Solutions. This has been Ask Wildman. Please join us next week, Wednesday at 11, live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or email us at askwildman@wildmanweb.com, and we will see you then. Mike, jumping back
I'm
on
back.
here.
I'm back.
All right, I was
I
just
don't.
signing off. I
I
think
don't know
that's
why it
that's
does
it.
that to me.
We will come back next week with the story of Hershey Park.
Hold on. Let me just leave a cliffhanger here. Because now I'm all fired up about Hershey Park. Okay, I can't wait a week, Miles. I'll totally forget about this. But no, Hershey Park is really, really interesting. The Hershey Company in general is interesting about creating an experience, but it's not in the way we typically think about it, right? Because Hershey Park was actually created for experience for the employees of Hershey, not to bring people in to experience the chocolate, but the entire city of Hershey, Pennsylvania, and everything around it was built by the Hershey Company, by Mr. Hershey. And it's a really, really his whole business life story is super interesting. But just when we talk about content marketing and content creation, I mean, this is like on steroids. The guy literally built a city for his business, and part of it was vertically integrated. He moved it out there so he could be right next to the cows, and he just made this huge bet where the guy was like, I forget, it was like caramel or something like that. He was in the caramel business. He went to the World's Fair, saw that there was a new way to actually make milk chocolate because they'd never been able to make it before. And he was like, oh, he's like, this is the future. Sold his caramel business. Everybody told him he was nuts. And he went into starting producing milk chocolate. Long story short, he failed many, many times. And Mr. Hershey was in business for something like 30 years before he ever even started Hershey, the town, and his production facility there, created Hershey Park and schools and all kinds of stuff for the employees. And all that's still there. You can go and visit it. And super, super interesting guy. Anyways, there's a story about Hershey, Pennsylvania and Hershey Park, abbreviated, but people should definitely check it out because it's super, super interesting stuff, Miles.
That's clearly what we're doing wrong. We need to go build a city. I don't know why we haven't been doing that this whole time.
Wildman, Wyoming. That's got a nice ring to it. I bet we could get.
We have to go to Wyoming.
I mean, it's probably going to be cheaper.
Just the alliteration.
Yeah. Now, Wi-Fi could be an issue, but we'll look into that and we'll report back on that next time.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. And thank you, everyone, for watching. We'll see you next week.